Virtual to reality TV returns today with a race 4 months in the making. It's a prize pool of more than $4,500 and a field of nearly 30 looking to compete for a top 7 paying spot. We've seen before the sports cars take to circuits such as Watkins Glen International. Tonight, it's going to be a little bit different. Welcome to a traditionally oval venue as we go racing once again in virtual to reality TV's individual money race tour. It's the Charlotte Motor Speedway, but it's not the mile-and-a-half oval configuration. Instead, this is the Charlotte Roval, a mix of both left-turning ovals and the road course action we've come to be more familiar with over the past half year. Welcome back to V2R TV, brought to you by FTN Broadcasting. I'm your host for tonight's event. I'm David Kreutz, commentating and producing. We've been waiting a long while to put this race together, in large part because it took a lot of time to get every driver ready for this date. It's a track and a car combination we haven't necessarily prepared for based on our previous races, where you've seen GT3 racing action with multi-class cars. Tonight is a little bit different. We're using the Toyota GR86 cars, which are brand new to iRacing. They've been with us for give or take just over a year. So for this now 15-plus-year-old sim, they're some of the hottest commodities allowed for the brand new free package. Charlotte Motor Speedway and the Toyota GR86 come equipped with every iRacing subscription base content, which means that any driver can practice. And we had thousands of laps turned in an effort to qualify for this event. But the best drivers have remained, and all of which are now on the circuit for qualifying. Once again, this is a competition across the country, and all our familiar sim shops are ready to go back at it once more. You're seeing right now Kevin Rold, one of the many looking to take a qualifying time. Former course drivers we've seen in previous events have come through as well, such as Dakota Fripp. You've also got Matt Busa. Have to look out for those super lap guys as well. All the big teams and some smaller equipment and enterprises have returned. Michael Polasek early to the top of the board tonight. Michael going to be representing super lap, as you can see. Of course, not the case any longer. It's Apex 1 for Michael on the way here. Kevin Rold is going to be with the crew for Super Lap. However, Will Salisbury is with Send It Sim Racing. Tonight, drivers are identified not by number, but instead by their sim racing company. The group they're representing, of course, these drivers are racing in person tonight, but separate from one another, all across the country. From the East Coast in New York, all the way down to California, we have a full country's worth of representation. And as we go throughout the United States, it's a great group ready to put on a great show. Heat racing begins in 5 minutes time. Qualifying now will determine who goes where. Michael Polasek's top time is still significantly better than anything else run, only for him to be outdone on the first lap. He goes back and does it again now on the second, and he's strong up there, the only driver to break through the sub 1 minute and 31 second barrier. Polasek still to the point here. You'll see there's Joel Patterson. Patterson racing for Speed Hub today. Flat Out Sim Racing rebranding over the course of our break from action. It is Speed Hub now. They're sending multiple drivers into this race. Joel Patterson, their flagship man, now on the circuit in his red and orange Toyota. The number 36, as you can see there tonight, racing, of course, with the brand new outfit. For the very first time, the Speed Hub colors are taken to the track for a national competition. Less than 5 minutes remaining now. Currently, Patterson is 18th in qualifying, one of the many to take a time, but not up there to the top. Andy Trupiano gets up into third place. Kevin Rold goes fourth. Dakota Fripp is in fifth. Jason Holloway is now on the way. Jason tonight going to be working with what was the Drive Sims outlet. You can see they've also got some new look to them. That's the Shift Arcade Enterprise now, and the bright blue on that Toyota showing another rebrand. Some of these sim racing outfits, of course, taking time to make things a little bit different. And we got some great new colors to look out, but very familiar drivers. Holloway, one of which who has competed with us before. Right now, he's one of the final drivers looking to take a time tonight. Our heats are going to be pretty simple. We'll have 3 of them where 6 drivers will advance from each. Then we'll have our last chance qualifier. That will fill out the field. 1 driver will go through. Andres Luna now going to be the final driver with the time taken. Jason Holloway is on the way, so is Ty Lindsay. Lindsay is still yet to take 1 lap so far. Ty is racing for Grid Lounge, and for the very first time, of course, Grid Lounge getting a chance with this Toyota GR86. With an upped prize pool, the stakes are higher, but Lindsay makes contact on his second and final lap, and he'll have to rescind his qualifying effort. Joseph McGreen right now going to be parked right toward turn 1. It looks like Joseph ending his qualifying efforts, while Paul Darling gets up to 3rd place on his second and final lap. Paul up there for P3, the super lap number 26, accompanied now by his teammate in Russell Soto and Michael Polasek, who races for Apex 1. Cross the line for Russell. End of his second lap. That will take him up to the top of the board. It's at 1:30.589. Russell Soto grabs the pole position. Super lap, 1st and 3rd, but Sim Racing Chicago and Matt Busa gets up to 2nd. Paul Darling now bounced off of the podium as a result. Stephen Dorland now going to be on the way, and Stephen, one of the final drivers to enter for tonight's race, and you can see him now making his move back onto the track. Stephen tonight in number 32, racing for Apex 1. Mark Reynolds right now is going to be parked at the outset of Charlotte's turn 3. Reynolds is for Oasis Sim Racing, an outfit that has already won a major event at the Laguna Seca Raceway. We did that event, of course, late last year. Oasis knows what it means to win when the stakes are high, but right now, Reynolds is going to find himself far off the mark. Joseph McGreen is going to be qualified in 25th, and McGreen right now, at least having a lap set, will have a chance to fight for one of those later advancement positions in the heats. Paul Darling, very strong qualifying run for he and teammate Russell Soto, 1st and 4th as it stands. Watch out for those big teams again to play a pivotal role in how this race goes down. Watkins Glen came down to the super teams of Sim Racing Chicago and Super Lap fighting against one another, and then the top 4 drivers wrecked each other going up the S's. All these teams that are very well equipped in terms of driver talent and quantity usually have an advantage in these races, even though it might not be a race that is pack racing in nature. We are on a Roval, which means that by all accounts, you're going to have to deal with some of those oval artifacts. It might not be pack racing like Daytona or Talladega. When you're coming down the oval, it is full throttle. You want to know who you can help, if you can help the drivers around you, and what you get out of it. And when you're a teammate with someone else, that benefits you significantly to get that run going, to be a little bit more aggressive with the guys around you, and then that'll put your opposing drivers at the disadvantage. That's why I would say, as we usually go into these races, Super Lap, Sim Racing Chicago, they have the traditional advantage. But so far, the small teams have done great work. We've seen it out of drivers from Send It Sim Racing. We've seen it from Skip Barber. We've seen it from Oasis. Just because you aren't getting up there and qualifying for the hot laps does not mean that you will not succeed. Emphasis on the unexpected tonight. Paul Darling will qualify P4, but it will be all for naught as his teammate Russell Soto takes the pole position, and he will start in first place for our first of 3 heats. A total today of more than 30 drivers taken to the circuit, 34 exactly for qualifying. Now that your heat lineups are set, let's get to know who goes where. 12 drivers will be in heat number 1. We'll have ourselves a total of 10 minutes, so we're estimating to get about 7 laps done of the 10 allotted. Russell Soto will find himself on the pole position. His drivers line up now. Chris Wetz is one of the first drivers onto the circuit. Let's go by one order, though, and start with Russell Soto. Tonight, representing in the nearly jet black Super Lap machine, Teammates are going to be running all white. Soto a little bit different in that 23. Paul Darling will qualify in second place. He's a teammate for the Super Lap Enterprise. And Dakota Fripp, very strong traditionally for circuit sim racing. He is their flagship driver, qualifying in third place. You'll have Will Salisbury for one of the smaller teams that has done great so far, Send It Sim Racing. They're going to be P4 today. Chris Wett will qualify then in 5th for Oasis Sim Racing. Joel Patterson goes 6th for the newly outfitted team in Speed Hub. You'll have Gerard Davis running for fastest lap, and Jack Freeman, a teammate for Send It Sim Racing. Joseph McBreen is going to be with Oasis. We have 3 Oasis drivers in this heat. Tully Fisher for the Flying Lap, Stephen Dorland for Apex One, and Mark Reynolds, Oasis Sim Racing, in 12th place. 3 drivers for Oasis. The front row is Super Lap. Send It Sim Racing also sending multiple drivers. Let's see now whether or not the front row teammates can lock out this opening heat, or instead, if one of the underdogs can come from further behind. Fans in the chat room, if you subscribe to our channel here at Virtual to Reality TV, you'll have unlimited chat room access, and we would love to talk to you. If you've got some race picks, or, of course, some predictions for what's to come, let us know. We're shouting out fans all night long. Special early shout-outs to Oasis Sim Racing, Augustin Sanchez, Colin Freeman, and Trax VR for making their way through first and foremost. Now, Russell Soto and his teammate on the outside and Paul Darling are ready to get things started from the Charlotte Roval. Making it through the front stretch chicane, the Jet Black Machine gets out first and foremost. There's a fight for second already, but Super Lap Soto brings it to speed. Welcome to racing in Charlotte. Battling already fierce for second place, and you can see now that while Paul Darling has it, Dakota Fripp making some quick advancements to try and get within a car length of Darling in second place. Couldn't quite get it that time by. As a result, we'll keep things moving. Paul Darling right now going to lie right behind the driver, the number 26. Paul, of course, running second. His teammate Russell Soto got away very well on the initial jump. Unfortunately for Paul's sake, he wasn't quite able to replicate that, and that means now that Dakota Fripp and Will Salisbury alike will be able to work with each other, Chris Wett as well. Keep in mind, top 6 making it to the main feature, which means now Joel Patterson, who's running right behind this battle for second place, he's going to be locked in for the time being. He's significantly further ahead of Gerard Davis than Davis would be of anyone else, and it means right now that, by all accounts, Patterson is in a comfortable position in 6th place here. Gerard Davis might have a chance as the race goes on, but currently, if he hits his marks, it looks like it's going to be a pretty simple walk away for the top 6, while the bottom half of the field choose not to battle one another. Russell Soto gets away on this first lap, and it's pretty clear that he has no intention of relinquishing the race lead. As it stands now, he's already got himself a lead of give or take a second and a half over the rest of the field. That is something that I don't think is going to be taken away, even by his teammate now in Paul Darling. Getting off the line well is significant in these small, short races. 10 minutes flies by real quick at a track where the average lap time is about a minute and a half, which means that although we have 9 minutes on the clock, this comes down to the timing in this race, so you got to watch out and see what's next. Currently, anyway, it looks like Super Lap is going to be 1-2. Doesn't look like that's going to be much a change as the night progresses for this opening heat. Dakota Fripp, 3rd place. At the line last time by was exactly 2 seconds away from Russell Soto. And it looks like now just has on his backside Will Salisbury. Salisbury hasn't found the run to make a move yet. This platform that we're using, the Toyota GR86 car, significantly slower than what we've seen from the GT3s, and that's going to add a different challenge, and it's going to be perhaps more difficult to pass with these slower cars than it would be with the quicker equipment. Momentum means a lot more now. Carrying speed, getting through those corners proper, and making the most of the oval section of the track. You're building up the most speed through oval turns 1 and 2 and oval turns 3 and 4. You can be a little bit sloppier through the road course section because the speed overall is lower. But if you make a mistake going into the oval portion, you are all but dead for a lap. And you have to regroup, reset, and get yourself going once more for what's next to come. That is not an easy task by any means. Right now, Joel Patterson, of course, has the most difficult task of all on paper. That is, of course, making sure that he doesn't get passed by Gerard Davis. But contrary to what we usually see, there really hasn't been much of a fight between Patterson or Davis or anyone for the bubble. Right now, Patterson is exactly where he started in 6th place, and he's showing that qualifying speed is remarkably accurate. The battle now for the 11th position sees the number 11 of Joseph McGreen passed quickly by Jack Freeman. McBreen gets put behind the top 10. Freeman is looking to make up some spots now for the last chance qualifier. Only one driver, it appears currently, gets in, but that is set to change. We have up to 25 spaces available, which means that we will have 7 drivers make it through the last chance qualifier as the server continues to configure. Now the Oasis teammates battle each other, but up in front, Dakota Fripp, contact from Salisbury. Will Salisbury looks low. This is for a podium position here, and a reminder, both drivers are tentatively locked in. If they do any more than minor contact, it could be a race ender, and it could send them to the LCQ. Up high, Salisbury now facing some pressure from Chris Wetz. At the top 5 is really going at each other. Contact! Both drivers spin. Wetz gets away. Patterson not so much. Gerard Davis enters 6th, and there's more contact. Dorland caught briefly. A little bit of contact from what we saw there. It looks like now, further back, Jack Freeman, he's catching up too. But we saw the incident coming past. Will Salisbury right now banging across the wall. Bad news as we see incident. Joel Patterson to pit road rapidly. And this is what we talk about. We say that worse often comes to worse on the racing circuit. And it started ahead of Patterson here, and then as he gets closer, just because he was racing clean, then he gets involved, and this will send Patterson out of the transfer spot. Give it to Gerard Davis. Patterson went low, made contact, spun up the track, and then he was hit from the backside. Watch this. And it looks like he takes it immediately down to pit road as a result. And that's where he is now, on pit road and alone. Joel Patterson 12th and last. That will give Davis a chance now to fight for the top 5. And that would put him from within the transfer spot. And he has no damage here as he scrapes the right side. He's got enough speed now to put himself inside the transfer range. A mistake like that cannot be made in the main event, and that's what happens when you see that aggressive racing. The transfer spot switches up. When there are thousands of dollars on the line, that tends to be what we see in sim racing. So, a reminder that our top 7 drivers are being fully paid out. Here's how it goes. $1,600 to your race winner, whoever it may be. Then you'll see $1,000 to your second place finisher. $700 to third, $500 to fourth, $400 to then fifth. The $300 goes to 6th place, and an added $100 have been provided to your 7th place finisher, which means that if you finish in the top 5, you are automatically paid out in our main event, and of course, 2 extra spots then from there. We said that we didn't expect Paul Darling to get up into the mix with Russell Soto. Well, I think we're wrong. Paul Darling is coming in, and quick now as he fights against the number 23. Both drivers going to be teammates, of course, for Super Lap, and that's what it's all about now, keeping that front row dominance. But Darling, although he didn't get off the line well, is the only driver now keeping pace with your race leader. And it's fitting that the teammates are the ones who run away and become the class of the field. Will Salisbury right now is going to be in 4th place, looking at Dakota Fripp. Fripp, through all the contact and the tribulations, has still remained in 3rd place, even though he found himself a little bit loose through a few corners. As the smoke and the dust settled, it looks like Fripp's been able to get away and now finds himself rolling the podium well in the Circuit Sim Racing Toyota GR86. Leading the cause for Circuit Sim Racing, expecting Fripp to be one of those contenders for a paid position at the very least. He has consistently been one of the best drivers we've seen on the V2R circuit. He's coming back now for his 3rd event, and right now he's looking pretty strong in his qualifier. Jack Freeman to the inside now, diving on Tully Fisher. And a nice move, only to make some extra contact, and that could set him up badly now for the second half of the road course. To the outside, Fisher looks for some room, can't quite get there. He'll let Jack Freeman get the advantage into oval number 1. Now watches Tully Fisher heads up high. The 38 is looking to keep it side by side into the entry of our back straightaway chicane. Only at a speed of 110 miles an hour down through the back straightaway, and usually the GT3 cars get up to north of 150 through this segment. Tully Fisher from the outside makes it work through the chicane. That's a real risky move. White flag is out, and it's a move that's going to keep him up there in the fight for the last chance qualifier. Russell Soto and Paul Darling now in the final lap of this race will battle each other for the race victory. It'll come down to 2 super lap teammates. They won't be racing for anything more now but the overall pole position. Both drivers are effectively locked into this race as long as they don't damage each other, but this is for P1, which could give the best chance to win the $1,600 grand prize for your race winner. Russell Soto keeping the advantage at about a car length and a half as they enter oval turn number 1. 26 of Paul Darling fades right behind. Now the 26 has one more chance for position. The front stretch chicane is not proven consistent. If you want to make the pass, the back straightaway is the place to go. Now, up high, into the exit of turn number 2 toward the back straight chicane. One driver's got to give. It looks like once again it will be Paul Darling, but Darling gets away better through the exit of the chicane. Now for the final 2 oval turns. Soto, no choice now but to block the bottom. Paul Darling's got the draft. Can't go to the apron, not quick enough. Through the front stretch chicane, up high now for Paul Darling. It's do or die into the final corner. No contact. Darling backs off. Russell Soto grabs the pole position for your main event. Teammate Darling in second. Dakota Fripp wraps up the podium. Gerard Davis comes away the final driver to automatically advance through. That leaves Stephen Dorland, Tully Fisher, Joseph McGreen, Jack Freeman, Mark Reynolds, and Joel Patterson to go to the last chance qualifier. Soto comes away on top and collects the first heat win of the day. 0.3 of a second. The difference between both teammates. We'll move on now immediately to heat number 2. Drivers getting set to grid up now. Andy Trupiano, one of which. Trupiano going to be on the outside for Super Lap, and as you can see again, this team has proven rather popular on the racing circuit today. He'll be accompanied by one of the Sim Racing Chicago talent. We already know him well. He's got that NASCAR Coke Series experience, and on the FTN side, he's a former race winner in the Integrity Racing League. It will be Matt Busa, your pole sitter for Sim Racing Chicago. Andy Trupiano will find himself then in second. Third place will be Sean Fritz for the Super Lap Enterprise. Holden Rowe will then be position number 4. Fifth place will go Rafael Leon. Gavin Nakagawa will be in 6th for Circuit Sim Racing. Matthew Noel will then be in 7th for Trax VR. 8th place on the day, Andrew Davis for fastest lap. Lee Martinez, 9th for Apex 1. Jason Holloway, going to be with the new Shift team, as you can see. And then you'll have Ty Lindsay right there as well. Grid Lounge, the final driver in the field. You'll see Lee Martinez officially, as a matter of fact, is with the Shift crew as well. We'll reflect on the overlays immediately here. There's a few drivers making some late entries, and you can see now Shift Arcade with 2 drivers in the field. Super Lap again with 2. They have a chance to win both of our first heats. Sim Racing Chicago has an ace up their sleeve in Matt Busa, however, and if anyone is expected to win tonight, I think that Busa's got one due to him eventually. We'll see what happens now as the field comes toward the start-finish line once again. Matt Busa and the Super Lap duo in 2nd and 3rd place right behind him are ready to go to work. Green flag's out again. Busa gets the edge. Welcome to heat number 2. Sim Racing Chicago up front. Making some changes now to our overlays as Matt Busa takes the race lead. Andy Trubiano keeps him honest in 2nd, and Gavin Nakagawa, as he did in qualifying, remains in that final spot. It looks like currently your qualifying order hasn't shifted all too much. The transfer spot remains with the same driver, and so be it now as the Circuit Sim Racing machine finds himself exactly in the middle of the field. Holden Rowe now battling toe for toe as you'll see Sean Fritz bobble through the entry, but pressure for Rowe side by side out of the exit of the back straight chicane. Toe-to-toe once again. Holden Rowe gonna find himself working that bottom side. Up on the top, you'll have Rafael Leon for race mode. And the 25 here getting real close to getting up there once again to fight for the podium. Can't quite do it. Now you'll see Gavin Nakagawa getting close with Matthew Noel. Matthew takes the transfer spot, and now Trax VR is sitting inside the cut line after your first lap. That's going to send Nakagawa back into 8th place. Ty Lindsay now battling as he goes up against the Shift Arcade drivers, and this will be for the 10th position. All the while, Matthew Noel now holds the transfer placement, and it is a 3-driver battle. As small as it comes now, and it's going to be one of the most important ones. These minor bundles of drivers are something that are going to come through at any road course, but especially at a Roval, where you're dealing with that high-speed aspect of the oval portion, you need partners to get that draft going, especially when you see drivers try to fight at speeds of upwards of 100 miles an hour, which isn't too easy for these Toyotas to reach. Their acceleration, all things considered, is not the greatest, so to get any extra speed is significant. Busa, Trubiano, Fritz remain in their same placement. Nothing has changed in that respect. A little bit of a wiggle now for Matthew Noel. He'll send himself to the outside of the chicane. Contact further back, Ty Lindsay and Jason Holloway. Lee Martinez also involved, and we've got a run of madness through the backstretch chicane. Here's a replay. And it starts with Matthew Noel slipping up, and then a completely separate incident immediately after. Watch with Matthew here and check out what happens. The number 37 right behind. Noel goes in first, and he hits the outside wall, and when he does, slams it. Just behind this, at the same time, Lee Martinez was coming in with Ty Lindsay. Both drivers spin. Martinez gets lucky, doesn't hit the wall. Lindsay more the same. Jason Holloway spins on exit in a third unrelated incident. This will give Andrew Davis now, much as Gerard had it in the previous race, the transfer spot. All in the family now for the fastest lap Davis duo, and it looks like Gerard and Andrew alike are in the same place once again. Gerard got in as the 6th and final driver in heat number 1, and once more it looks like Andrew Davis has that opportunity himself. Andrew right now working down the back straight alone. Sean Fritz is going to be facing a little bit more pressure now in that super lap machine. Holden Rowe getting further ahead. Holden for race mode now, finding himself, believe in an initial D throwback scheme in that number 24. Not going to be representing the team outfit, but certainly doing the race mode guys very well in the opening third of this race. Further behind him is still going to be Fritz. Sean falling back compared to his super lap teammate Andy Trupiano. Andy, a well-esteemed driver in the sim racing world. I had the pleasure of racing him throughout Moon Cars Pro Series at the end of 2021. He's been around for a long while now. He's got that expertise, and it's showing once again. But nobody has the expertise of Nat Busa, except maybe Chris Wetz, in terms of professional sim racing. Both of them have been the eNASCAR ladder for several years. Logitech sponsorship on that number 21. Matt Busa has a tenure in the Coca-Cola iRacing series to reflect upon, not to mention being a member of some of iRacing highest esteemed leagues. He's a driver who knows what it's like at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, but maybe more of a surprise to see him doing so well at the Roval, of all things, not just the 1.5 mile trim. Busa's lead of the line that time by was 1.27 seconds. Comfortable enough to hold on for the remaining 4 minutes of this race until the white flag is called. Sean Fritz looking to the outside there on Holden Rowe. He couldn't get there. Rafael Leon in 5th place is going to find himself just behind. Still no dice. And Andrew Davis is in 6th, doing exactly what Gerard did previously, just holding on to P6, not worrying about anything else. And this is when you come to understand exactly what you're doing, you just keep on doing it time and time again. Aggression is what put Gerard Davis in the position to make it through heat number 1. But it wasn't his aggression. It wasn't him making the moves to push up front. What it was instead was drivers ahead of him making mistakes out of that opportunistic attitude. And when you are opportunistic like that, trying to make moves up when you're locked into the main feature, oftentimes, it does not work well. It's playbook stuff to try to avoid that. Unfortunately, it looks like some drivers, they made that mistake. That's going to cost them. Sean Fritz right now still working with Holden Rowe, trying to get into 3rd place. Holden's got the advantage even still, now making it to oval turn 1. For those viewers who are coming in just now, the GR86 is free courtesy of iRacing's base content package, as is the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Any driver throughout the country has an opportunity to qualify for any virtual to reality event if they go to compatible sim shops. And we'd like to thank those that we're working with today, including Superlap in Berkley, Michigan, RPM Rush in Manassas, Virginia, Shift Arcade in San Ramon, California, Apex Racing in Cary, North Carolina, Race Mode in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. We've also got Sim Racing Chicago and Algonquin, Illinois. New Braunfels, Texas brings you Oasis Sim Racing. Alberta, Canada brings you Drive Motorsports. Apex One for Westfield, New Jersey. Speed Hub from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Woodland Hills, California, and Circuit Sim Racing. Glen Rock, Pennsylvania, and FOSR, USA. Fastest Lap, Evansville, Indiana, and Peachtree Corners, Georgia brings you Torque Atlanta. Those are our compatible sim stations for the coming events in 2025. From all the way coast to coast, New York to California, and even a little bit of love up above in Canada. Kyle Bates, thank you for tuning in as well from Canada. We hope you enjoyed tonight's coverage. Currently, Matt Busa racing in Algonquin, Illinois today. He is your race leader. Trupiano in the Superlap Enterprise remains in 2nd place. Sean Fritz is still fighting against Holden Rowe, but his defense has been wonderful. That's been the difference maker. We've seen that the restarts have determined everything. And when we talk about restarts, we talk about starting the race from that restart zone. If you get a jump on your competitors through the first turn where acceleration is everything, that is half the battle. And we've seen it with everyone today. If you're able to comfortably make that gain and jump through the starting zone, you can keep position. Defense becomes a lot easier when you already have the racing real estate. Sean Fritz, by all accounts, has been faster over the last few laps. Last time by, he ran his fastest lap. Now coming to the white flag, he'll only have one more chance as Matt Busa is storming away to a dominant Heat 2 win. And this victory would guarantee him the outside pole position. Matt Busa right now going to hold himself up and ahead. Outside pole, if he finished in that position, he would cash in $1,000. So, even though he's not in heat number 1, and even though he cannot cash in on grabbing the pole, he'll still find himself in a great position to start so long as he hangs on just a little while longer. Busa now, with time to spare, making it through the final turns of this race into oval 1 and 2. Then you'll have Andy Trubiano looking right back. Sean Fritz still battling against Holden Rowe. No dice so far for either of these two drivers. There has not been a change in the battle just yet, and it looks like things are still working out. Fritz coming down the back straightaway finds himself toe-to-toe now with Rafael Leon through the chicane. No dice just yet. Fritz on the back end of Leon, but all the while, Matt Busa will come around and he will take the checkered flag. Outside pole position awarded to Matt Busa, and Sim Racing Chicago again does not disappoint in heat number 2. Trubiano and Holden Rowe looking to take the podium positions. Fritz at the line will not get there. And lastly, Andrew Davis at the line spins! They're wrecking for 6th place, and Davis still takes it. Gavin Nakagawa will limp for 7th place. Shades of the 1971 Daytona 500 for a transfer spot. Andrew Davis will just barely get there. Wow. Watch this. That is unbelievable. Coming to the final chicane, and we'll play it back for you one more time here. Watch this. Andrew Davis was racing against Nakagawa through turn 4, this time by. And you can see right here, Davis, quarter panel contact, sending them both up the track and spinning. And Andrew gets lucky, and as Gerard did in the previous race, he'll make it in as your 6th and final driver. Unbelievable. Luckily, of course, for Andrew Davis, he'll be able to hold it out. And now we move on to heat number 3. Michael Polasek finds himself on the pole position. Next to him will be Kevin Rold in 2nd, Apex 1 getting the start. That, of course, is going to be P1 for Apex 1. Then you'll have Kevin Rold in 2nd place. Kevin is going to find himself working tonight, as you can see, for Super Lap. Another front row start. In all 3 of our heats, Super Lap has one driver at the very least on the front row. That trend will continue. Next up, on the outside, you'll see Samuel Scott. That'll be the driver, the number 5, also racing for Super Lap. Freddie Toth will be then in 4th place for fastest lap. Daniel Simpson will be 5th. Peyton May will be then in 6th place for Speed Hub. Nathan Block will be with Oasis Sim Racing in 7th. Apex 1 will also see the Nicholas Sorrow car. That's the number 42. Brayton Fan will be, of course, there, the 22, in 9th. Brighton Fan, rather, right beside Andreas Luna, the 10th and final driver in this heat. 6 drivers advance. We saw a photo finish to qualify last time through. Now we will go at it once again. iRacing official pace car will bring the field to green, and we're about ready to start heat Number 3, your final of the 3 main heats. Drivers from here can automatically lock themselves into the main feature as they fight for 3rd place in qualifying. Green flags out, advantage Polasek. The field behind shuffles as they fight for 6th. It is toe-to-toe now in the thick of the pack. Side-by-side battling contact. It's going to be Daniel Simpson sent around. He'll save it, but he'll lose multiple positions and fall right out of the transfer placement. Daniel Simpson, luckily, doesn't go into the grass, but that could have cost him big time. And now the number 8 finds himself working behind the top 6. He qualified in 5th, and now is toe-to-toe with Andres Luna as he will battle to stay in P8. Freddie Toth right now going to get away, as does Samuel Scott and company. Top 2 of Kevin Roll and Michael Polasek will race independently up in front. And talk about dominance from, of course, the heavy hitters, the big teams. But now Michael Polasek, right now, of course, away from his teammates for Apex 1, is looking to do things a little bit different. Michael to the point, he's keeping Kevin Roll at bay. The battles behind are intense. Nathan Block is going to see one peel to the inside. That's going to be Nicholas Sorrow for pit road. But Block still has drivers all over him. Daniel Simpson was spun out of line, and it looks like he wants vengeance. He wants to return to the inside of the top 6. He does not want to be the driver on the outside looking in. There's a chance for at least $100 and up to $1,600 tonight. And he was shunted out of the way previously. Now he wants his get back. Andres Luna, Brighton fan, working at each other right now. Trax VR, their previous driver, unfortunately not making it through. That, of course, was in heat number 2. And for the heat number 2 lineup, it was the driver, of course, a little bit further back in Matthew Noel. He finished in 11th, so hoping not to send 2 drivers now to the last chance qualifying circuit. It's a really close battle for 6th place. Watch this. Block sees right behind him. Daniel Simpson is laying down the law and putting that pressure. The Oasis Sim Racing driver sees now a pop to the inside, and there's no way to defend now as the low groove is taken. Block decides to push a little bit further, ends up loose, and nearly spins back on the exit of the chicane. That will give Daniel Simpson 6th place. And just like that, Daniel makes it through into the transfer placements. Samuel Scott will be in 5th. Freddie Toth will be putting down more pressure for 3rd place. It's a 3-car battle for 3rd. Peyton May for the Speed Hub crew is still inside the podium. Peyton May now is going to find himself 3rd place. Then you'll have Freddie Toth for fastest lap in 4th, heading up to the outside, looking high. That's going to be Freddie Toth trying to get it through on the second half of this circuit. It looks like no dice just yet, but waiting for a mistake. Multiple drivers, as evidenced by those tire marks, have gone through the grass, but it looks like neither Toth nor Peyton May will commit the same mistake. And it'll be just enough now to keep things moving. Gavin Scalise rooting for Circuit Sim Racing, of course. Right now, Andres Luna is the first driver outside of the transfer spot. Dakota Fripp, their flagship driver, has already made it in. And of course, he qualified 3rd through Heat 1. It was a wonderful effort. Now, Luna, barring any trouble, looks to be outside of the picture, but with contact up ahead, it could get nasty. Once again, Toth on the outside, then going behind Peyton May, sees more from Samuel Scott. 3 drivers for 3rd place. Last time we saw this order and this ordeal, it ended badly for all 3 drivers involved. It could be a bad omen to see it once again. If I was these 3, or if I was even Daniel Simpson now who's making his way back up, I would be very weary of what's to come. This close racing attitude is understandable for the amount of money on the line, but it doesn't mean that it is a winning formula for a driver. In fact, in many instances, quite frankly, it is not. And you don't want to see drivers trying to over-push a car that really cannot be taken past its limit. Although these drivers have held on very well, when this car gets loose, it is squirrely. Usually it's firm down to the ground on account of adequate downforce and not a lot of power, but when you're out of line with the GR86, you really feel it, and it is bad news when you come to grips with that fact. So, to see Freddie Toth right now going at it toe-to-toe with Peyton May the way he has, it's concerning, but it isn't a race ender. To the inside now, you'll see Freddie Toth making it through. May backed up to 4th. Now Daniel Simpson goes in 5th. Samuel Scott will go 6th place. Andres Luna and Nathan Block 7th and 8th. Luna right now still the first driver just outside of the bubble battle, waiting for an opportunity. There's the opportunity. Freddie Toth will be spun on the outside of the back straight and entering turn 3. Now to 7th place, Luna will take P6. Circuit Sim Racing gets its blessing in disguise. Freddie Toth gets spun around. And that was the ultimatum of a laps-long battle. Watch this one more time. Freddie to the inside. They met each other through the apex, and loose, no way to correct it, and Peyton May finishes Freddie Toth off. By all accounts, that will send him outside of this main feature, and he'll have to fight through the last chance qualifier to enter. And Daniel Simpson, despite having a very weak start, Simpson now is going to find himself up to 4th place, being tagged and nearly fully spun around to just outside the podium. And now you'll see that Peyton May car has a real shot at being overtaken and quick. To the inside now, Peyton goes low. He'll take Daniel Simpson with him, as he does Samuel Scott. And Andres Luna is the final driver now in this bubble battle. All 3 heats so far have seen at least one instance of a wreck changing the order, and it looks like once again that is the case. Whether it was Nakagawa going at it with Andrew Davis, contact with the curb, Andres Luna spins. Nathan Block also spins and also collects Toth and Brighton Fan. Luna spins first and still gets away. My, oh my, everyone in that ordeal from 7th down to 10th were involved. Sorrow gets up to P9. And just when you thought they were going to break through on Andres Luna, that is not at all the case. Luna for Circuit Sim Racing is given a pass on his mistake. He is still a half second ahead of Nathan Block and the Oasis Sim Racing crew. But what happened there is quite the shock. Again, Luna gets away from it. We'll turn our attention to the live feed as Daniel Simpson now is battling to stay inside of the top 5 here. And rather, he's looking to make his way up into 4th and go a little bit further. Peyton May back ahead for P4. Daniel Simpson previously as high as the 4th place, but it looks like once again he's been put in the dust, but a little bit further behind at the very least. Side by side again. Hasn't worked out well the previous 2 times. Luckily, both drivers make it away clean. Samuel Scott right now going to be 3rd place for Super Lap. Kevin Rold will extend the streak if he hangs on as the white flag flies. Super Lap will have a top 3 finisher in all 3 of the main heats. And it looks like they will not be sending any of their drivers to the last chance qualifier. A resounding success for the Super Lap crew. But you know who's had the most success of all? The Apex 1 driver at the front of the field. Michael Polasek has been rapid fast, and he's proven once again he's got a shot to win this race. His qualifying speed overall 3rd quickest, and it looks like he will lock in 3rd place in this heat. He'll start overall P3 for our main feature. The battle for 6th rages on between Oasis and Nathan Block, Circuit Sim Racing and Andres Luna. But currently all eyes are on this leading man, Michael Polasek now. Apex 1 will win heat number 3 if he can just hang on now for the final 3/4 of a mile and make it back up top. Polasek into oval turn 3. Nothing more that anyone else can do now but watch and wait. Peyton May coming toward the back straightaway chicane now with Daniel Simpson. They're side by side. Simpson spins! Michael Polasek, in the meanwhile, will come around and he will take the victory. Third heat, he's your third winner. And at the line, Simpson breaks through for third. Samuel Scott in fourth. Peyton May limping to the end with a broken front end. Still has a chance to beat both Luna and Nathan Block. Samuel Scott still chasing Simpson but will not get there. Daniel from a spin to third place. Scott makes it through, as does Peyton May. Your last drivers, either Block or Luna. And to make it in from the heat races, Luna goes through the front stretch chicane. Nathan Block will not catch up. Luna is through. And Michael Polasek wins your third heat. Now, here comes your last chance qualifier. If you haven't made it in already, now is the time. Now, of course, high stakes in our previous races to this point, with Michael Polasek, however, winning his third heat. He's now got an opportunity to make his way through and instead watch the last chance qualifier. 15 drivers eligible to race in this one, the leader of which is Stephen Dorland, who'll be racing for the flying lap. Then you'll have beside him Gavin Nakagawa, who ended up making contact. Very brief contact that was, but it ended up being a race ender for his chances to enter through the main. Now Nathan Block will start in third, Tully Fisher will be in fourth place for the flying lap, Lee Martinez will go third for Shift Arcade, Nicholas Saro will then be sixth place for Apex 1. And you'll have a little bit further back, Joseph McGreen for Oasis Sim Racing. McBreen is ahead of Ty Lindsay. Lindsay's for Grid Lounge. Freddie Toth is for Fastest Lap. Jack Freeman, Ascended Sim Racing in 10th. Then you'll have Jason Holloway in 11th for Shift Arcade. Brighton Fan will be in 12th place for Trax VR. Mark Reynolds at 13th. Matthew Noel is in 14th. And lastly, Joel Patterson for Speed Hub. He's looking for redemption from the back of the field. Your last chance qualifier works very similarly to all of your heats, with only one difference. 7 drivers make it in, and if you don't make it in, you're going home. This is it. It's a rebound shot, and only 7 drivers will score. Of your 16 who gridded and your 15 who will start, just about half will make it through. The rest will have to go back home. Green flags out. Dorland gets the advantage. They're already fighting between the transfer positions, but your leaders get away well again. Contact already into turn 1. Joseph McBreen will spin, and he'll collect contact. Multiple drivers involved. And that is game over. The front end for Jason Holloway. Race is done. He's not making it through. Jack Freeman just barely got away there, and the battle for the 7th place begins with Ty Lindsay holding that spot. All the while, Dorland, Nakagawa, Nathan Block find themselves up and in front. Tully Fisher in the number 38 finding himself now running in 5th place. All these familiar faces going at it for another 7-lap run. Stevens got the advantage, and it looks like now the flying lap has themselves the front spot. But that could change. Nakagawa, we saw he's ready and willing to make moves for a victory, even if it means aggression. But here comes Nathan Block. Block spins out of line, as does Stephen Dorlin. Your former race leader taken out, as was the 31, and now Stephen is far outside. Gavin Nakagawa takes the race lead, and with him is the Shift Arcade number 37 of Lee Martinez. Watch it back from hero to zero. Dorlin is now out of the top spot. Slow motion will show contact with the number 31. Block initiates, and both drivers spin off. Nakagawa takes the race lead. This time, he does so without contact. This gives Jack Freeman now the transfer position in 6th place. However, it doesn't mean that he's going to have it for all too long. Not if Freddie Toth has his way. Toth now in that number 13 is right behind Freeman, and you might notice that Jack has a little bit of damage now on the front end. And we'll see whether or not that ends up being notable, but currently it appears that the number 13 car, as we're seeing it, is still running strong. Strong enough where whatever's going on will not concern him, at least for the time being. Jack Freeman is a driver who we've seen many a time before so far in V2R competition, and he's looking to keep things moving strongly now as he is up and ahead. Freeman, he's got the opportunity, however, to make some real-life racing appearances. The number 62 Talladega Super Speedway, Freeman is set to go racing in the ARCA Menard Series for the very first time this coming month. He'll be racing in the number 62 Patriot Roofs machine, and he's got himself an amazing opportunity, sponsored by the Patriot Racing Group and, of course, Jeffrey Machine, the team led by Steve Lewis. So, Freeman is a driver who knows what it's like in the clutch, and he's got opportunities now in the real racing world. In the virtual scene, of course, he's still fighting, as now Freddie Toth heads to the inside. That's for 5th. Freddie now is going to put the pressure on Ty Lindsay, hoping not to make any additional contact. Freeman is now sent back to the transfer spot. He doesn't want to push and shove. You'll see him hit the brakes there, and the Oasis duo is just behind. You'll see now Nathan Block really aggressive to the inside there. The 31 will see Jack Freeman go high, and here comes Mark Reynolds. Reynolds tries to shake up the 29 to no avail, and Freeman now runs in 7th place. Nathan Block finding himself in 6th once more. Leaders ahead have gotten away, and easily so. Lee Martinez taking it in front of Gavin Nakagawa, but the battle for the race lead is not nearly as important now as the fight for 6th and 7th place. 7th being the final driver, of course, to make it through, but now Jack Freeman is going to have to let live. Contact again! Freddie Toth and Ty Lindsay. And a violent hit too. Take a look at this. Another 2 drivers involved, and that do-or-die attitude, I think it's taking drivers out way too quickly in this race. And this is another instance of drivers running way over their heads as a collective. Watch this. It was side-by-side between Toth and Lindsay. There was no problem there. Then, contact. And you'll see it right there. And it's a clear hit on Freddie Toth. I'm not saying it's intentional, but it's very clear Nathan Block made that contact and was not able to stop in time. And that's going to give Jack Freeman a top 5 placement now as he gets away from the chaos. Matthew Noel is able to make it through, and his teammate Brighton Fan do as well. So now it's both drivers for Trax VR running in the transfer spots of 6th and 7th respectively. In a risky circumstance, Success is hard to find, but when you find it, it's that much more valuable. Now, Trax VR is sitting within 5 minutes of making it into the main feature and staying there with both of their drivers. Jack Freeman right now is going to be to the outside of Mark Reynolds, and Reynolds was able to escape that incident involving his teammate. Right now, Freeman going to waver up high. He's got a little bit of front end damage. I don't think he's got the stuff now to compete in terms of racing hard. He's just got to let it happen. Now, contact there from the number 12. Reynolds hits the wall. Jack Freeman goes high. Going to the bottom side instead goes Matthew Noel. Matthew's going to go 3 wide now. Splitting into the middle is the number 12. Noel with the riskiest move he's made all night long. And he'll make it through cleanly. Contact. Reynolds sent through the grass. That's going to be a slowdown penalty now for the number 12. Reynolds gets in line. And so he'll fight again. Brighton Fan is still 7th place as it stands. Joel Patterson's going to find himself 10th, running against Stephen Dorland, your pole sitter to start the night. Just a Waffle, the Hangman Sky, Augustin Sanchez, Colin Freeman, Trax VR. Thank you all, of course, for stopping by, getting this thing started. If you're enjoying what you're seeing right now live on V2R TV, of course, subscribe to the channel. Coverage tonight brought to you by FTN Broadcasting. Make sure to check out our channel as well. We're having a wonderful time broadcasting these high-stakes events. The racing has been real good too, although it has been a little bit more aggressive maybe than we'd like. Jack Freeman has been able to escape it, and although it has been tricky and he's got some damage on him, those battle scars are proof he will persist. And currently, he has prevailed. Mark Reynolds is going to see Jack Freeman spin. Freeman goes around on his own. He'll be now outside of the transfer places. Freeman with a consequential mistake. Watch this. He found himself running in 5th place at the time of incident, and this will send Nicholas Sorrow inside of the qualifying transfer spots. Freeman hits the sausage curb once, twice, spins. Bad news, he's in 12th. And that is something you cannot do, and it looks like Jack Freeman's race is over by virtue of that mistake. Joel Patterson and Stephen Dorland now fight for 8th, and by all accounts, their race might not be over with how we've seen it up in front. Apex 1, Nicholas Sarno gained the recovery now to get to 7th place, the final spot to make it in. Brighton Fan and Matthew Noel for Trax VR are both in the transfer zone, as is Mark Reynolds for Oasis, Tully Fisher for the Flying Lap, Gavin Nakagawa for Circuit Sim Racing, and Lee Martinez for Shift Arcade. The battle for the race lead is still potent, by the way. We haven't mentioned it yet because these drivers are firmly inside of their transfer placements. But now, it appears that this is the most important fight on the track. Top 2 looking just to make it in. 1 minute remaining until the white flag is called. This lap will be it. Final lap now here from Charlotte. We only have 10 minutes on the docket. All 9 laps will not be completed. It is a timed heat. 1 lap to go now. Nicholas Sorrow making his way through. He's going to be 7th place exactly. Brighton Fan is going to be now just ahead. And then, of course, you'll have Mark Reynolds. 5, 6, 7 here. A full 10 seconds up on Joel Patterson. Patterson keeps on fighting. But as long as there's no incident up and ahead, it looks like right now we know who's going to transfer and who will not. Nakagawa to the inside briefly on Lee Martinez. Can't quite get there. Shift Arcade stays ahead. Last time Nakagawa was in this position in 2nd place, he took it all the way down to the front stretch chicane, made final contact, could not make the move through. Now he's looking to do it all over again on this final lap. Is there an opportunity to make the pass, or is it no good? Backstretch chicane, still a firm advantage now for the Lee Martinez car. Brighton Fan right now going to be fighting to get into 6th place, but as long as he stays P7 or better, he is in. Nakagawa, not at all a good run through. Lee Martinez up and ahead for Shift Arcade. Final lap, final turns, this is it. Lee Martinez will come through, and it looks like this time around, Nakagawa a little more content with 2nd place. Martinez, Nakagawa, 1st and 2nd. Tully Fisher goes 3rd. Matthew Noel will go 4th. Mark Reynolds now will have himself in 5th place. Nicholas Sorrow and 7th. Brighton Fan will be the drivers who advance from your last chance qualifier. Checkered flag is out. We know who our 25 will be, fighting for a prize pool of $4,600. Lee Martinez wins your final heat, the last chance qualifier. Remainder of the field comes around, and we've got a little bit now of time until we go at it for the big show. We'll return in just a moment after a word from our friends at iRacing.com. Start your sim racing journey today with iRacing and check out their website, and you can register today. We always inform you of the newest deals and ways to save on your membership, but GR86 and iRacing both come with Charlotte free of charge. Just check out iRacing.com for subscription information, and we will return right after this. You're watching the V2R Roval Grand Prix with the Toyota GR86 from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. We'll be right back with your main race and 30 more minutes of high-octane action.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to coverage on Virtual to Reality TV, brought to you by FTN Broadcasting. You're watching coverage of the Toyota GR86 Roval Grand Prix. We've got about 3 minutes now until we go main racing. So, with that said, our qualifying lineup has been fully set, and it will be on the pole position tonight. Heat 1 winner, Russell Soto. And to the outside of him will be second place, Nat Busa. 25 drivers. They'll have themselves in this event. It looks like Peyton May will be taking an end-of-line penalty to begin this race. However, May will not relinquish his qualifying position in entering this event, and so we will still have a full field set for 30 laps of racing today. 30 minutes, up to 30 laps, if we are able to complete them. Taking a look downstairs, not a lot is going to change for these drivers in these final laps, many of which will not able to get more than one lap in by virtue of how little time we have, only 5 minutes of remaining practice. But now, $4,600 are on the line. The most important moments in this event are yet to come, and it all comes down to whether or not drivers race cleanly for these final 30 minutes. It's the approximate length of 3 heats combined, and for most drivers, they only raced in 1. For the last chance qualifier guys, of course, they had the experience in racing in 2, but they'll be starting at the back of the field. I don't think that expertise will help them out all too much. Hitting 30 left on the clock. Michael Polasek taking some spirited laps right now in the Apex 1 Toyota. This car is one that's looking to shock the world tonight, going up against some of the dominant forces, including the ever-powerful Super Lap team and Sim Racing Chicago. Polasek tonight, well, we've seen him before, but he proved again he's got the pace. By winning his heat, he'll be qualified in 3rd place for this main event. It's not going to be an easy day, of course, for Polasek, racing against the best of the best for this race victory, but what it comes down to is understanding what he can do with his equipment. Doesn't have a lot of help around him up in front, whereas the teammates will be in abundance in the top 10, so what can you do now with a perfect opportunity? Field is set to go at it now in less than 30 seconds. Kevin Rold is set the fastest time. He qualifies tonight just behind 6th place overall by virtue of finishing 2nd in our 3rd heat. Tonight, he's going to be alongside many Super Lap competitors. All 3 heats see one driver making it through for the top 2 for Super Lap. That's how strong they were in each and every one of our main heats, and they'll be sending every one of their drivers into the main event. Russell Soto is no different. He'll put down the fastest time in your final practice session. Soto, your pole sitter, is looking to cash in on a $1,600 grand prize for the top dog at the end of day. Soto, let's see if he can do it once again and come out on top as we are ready to go green in less than 5 minutes. 25 drivers, 7 will be paid. This is your all-star lineup for the GR86 Roval Grand Prix. Let's get to know them one by one. For Super Lap, it will be Russell Soto taking the pole position after winning heat number 1. Matt Busa will then be qualified in 2nd place. Busa for Sim Racing Chicago wins heat number 2. Michael Polasek for Apex 1 will start today in 3rd. Paul Darling, 4th place for Super Lap. Andy Trubiano, 5th for Super Lap. Kevin Rold, 6th for that Super Lap crew. It'll be Dakota Fripp, P7 for Circuit Sim Racing, and Holden Rowe for Race Mode in 8th. 9th and 10th see Will Salisbury, Daniel Simpson, the Sim Racing Chicago driver, 9th. Send it in 10th. Then from the top 10 on, you'll have Sean Fritz, Samuel Scott, Chris Wetz, Rafael Leon, Peyton May, Gerard Davis, Andrew Davis, and then Andres Luna, Lee Martinez, Gavin Nakagawa, Tully Fisher, Matthew Noel, Mark Reynolds, Nicholas Sorrow, and Brighton Fan. All 25 are slated for 20 laps of racing. Estimates show that's all the time we'll have in this 30-minute slot. The Charlotte Motor Speedway, as we look from afar, is ready to come alive with the engines of 25 of the country's best drivers. It's an all-American field with a leading talent coming out of the Super Lap Enterprise. Russell Soto is looking to bring this field to green. Let's go at it once again. Super Lap up top, Sim Racing Chicago right down low. Here we go again with Soto and Matt Busa leading the field to green. This is your main event. $4,600 are on the line as the Roval sees 20 more laps of exciting racing. 1/2 hour determines your paid drivers. Russell Soto now leads the way, and you'll find that number 23 up to the front of the board. Matt Busa is going to fall back to third place in the early running, and this is where we're really going to test that theory of whether or not qualifying is everything tonight. In all honesty, I think so far that is just going to prove to be this case once again. Yes, we've seen drivers run strong and make gains as the night has gone through, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to have the time to see drivers drive up the field. Contact, that would be Peyton May. May to the back of the field. Further contact just ahead. That's Lee Martinez. Side by side and nearly 3 wide into turn 3. Back of the field now getting risky, and you'll see the laps tick down at the top of the board. 20 to go indicates how much time we have left in this 30-minute slot. Russell Soto, of course, he's going to find himself leading the way. Russell up top. Matt Busa now going to find himself with contact through turn 1. He'll now be in 6th place and barely inside the paying slot. More contact. Busa starting lap number 2 with trouble. Take a look back and you'll see. Slow into turn 1, and it looks like just limping through the apex and taking that slowdown penalty. As such, he'll find himself now to the tail end of the top 10 inside the Hornet's Nest, and it is going to be close quarters from 5th on down to 10th, and even further beyond that. You'll see Holden Rowe, you'll see Daniel Simpson, and right now Simpson is ahead of Matt Busa, as Matt fades back to 7th, a $100 prize, of course, for your 7th place driver, but for a man who has expectations of finishing inside the top 2 tonight, that is certainly underperforming. All the while, Russell Soto finds himself to the point as your overall race leader. Pole position proves to be quite effective now, as the Soto machine is P1. Polasek is 2nd, 3rd place is Paul Darling. Up in front, it's rather calm. Everywhere else, not so much. Once again, it'll be side by side. Will Salisbury looking low, and it looks like right now, Salisbury getting pinched on the outside into the front stretch chicane. Big contact! Side by side proves a massive failure. We've got an incident, and a heavy one at that, as drivers fall down the order. Salisbury crammed into the outside wall, and that is effectively day done. Watch this back. That's the type of incident you cannot have if you're looking to fight up in front of the field, and it just happened. Salisbury making contact and being turned up the circuit there. As you can see, he was there with Holden Rowe. Both drivers, big hits. Rowe immediately went down to pit road, and not so much, of course, for the drivers around him. Andy Trupiano got away, but a big hit there. Will Salisbury now out of contention. Trupiano P5. Daniel Simpson will then be 6th. You'll have 7th place right now. That is Matt Busa, the final driver in the paying bracket. Sean Fritz is going to be toe-to-toe for another spot here. Fritz, number 15 for Super Lap, is looking to get ahead of Gerard Davis. Davis is now in that number 27 fastest lap car. Both Gerard and Andrew Davis were final drivers from their heats respectively to make it in, and it looks like currently both of which doing a little bit different in terms of performance. Davis has gotten up into the top 10 battle, Gerard Davis anyway, all the while Andrew is a little bit further behind. Andrew will find himself scored 19th that time by, toe-to-toe battling, and it looks like giving up again. Andrew going to let it through, doesn't want any extreme incident to occur. Gerard Davis is getting closer to the top 10, slowly but surely here with 17 laps to go. Sean Fritz still knows there's a lot of time, and he will wait it out. Russell Soto leads, and while he built up a great advantage on those opening 2 laps, it looks like slowly but surely he's being reeled in by Michael Polasek. Michael right now, 2nd place. getting closer and closer. Michael today, of course, qualifying third by virtue of winning the third and last heat. He's looking to put up great numbers today and end up in victory lane. I really wouldn't be all too surprised if he did it. It is not going to be easy by any means for the Apex 1 car to do so without support. Keep in mind, Paul Darling is running behind Russell Soto. Soto, running for Super Lap, is in first, as is his third place teammate, his fourth place teammate, and his fifth place teammate. Of the top five, Michael Polasek is the only driver who is not running for Super Lap. And then you'll have Matt Busa running in sixth, as it stands, and then you'll have Daniel Simpson further back. Right now, the top five and the paying positions are dominated exclusively nearly by Super Lap. They have the one position, of course, that matters most of all, the $1,600 winning one. And right now, just behind, even though Polasek would come away with $1,000, why settle for P2 when you can go for that race lead? Michael Polasek getting a little bit closer that time by. He ran a 1:30.546. Whereas, currently speaking anyhow, it was that time by for second place driver Paul Darling, in which he ran a 1:30.314. Polasek right now getting closer to Russell Soto, 1:30.7 right now for the Soto car as they keep things going. 16 laps to go, and time still ticking down. Going to be all about the minutes, and currently 22 minutes are left on the clock for your leading drivers. Russell Soto still going to have the advantage. Michael Polasek bides his time, holding it in second place. Paul Darling is in third and getting a little bit closer now to that Polasek machine, which means we could see a 1-2 run for Super Lap if Michael Polasek sees that pressure as too much. While Paul Darling has absolutely gotten closer, it does not look like he's got the stuff to make an immediate pass. He would have to wait on a mistake, which so far from Polasek we haven't seen any of which. Matt Busa is going to find himself getting closer now to Andy Trupiano. Trupiano finds himself in the battle right now between he and Kevin Rode, both of which are Super Lap teammates. Don't expect them to race each other all too hard, which isn't to say that they're not going to race each other for position, but again, they're teammates right now, and Super Lap is putting up a grand showing. 4 drivers inside the top 5. To jeopardize that would be a major waste for the team. And I think they all know that. Acting on what matters most now, that team enterprise. You do not want to worry about the individual driver if you're working with them in terms of manufacturer or in terms of the sim racing world, that teammate situation. Currently, anyway, for Paul Darling, it looks like he's got a lot of good drivers around him. And of course, Russell Soto, the leader being one of which, has that cut and dry advantage. 15 laps to go this time by, coming to only 14 remaining. Russell Soto is still watching out, trying to make things stick. Michael Polasek has kept him honest right behind. Gap between race leaders has remained practically identical so far. I don't think it's going to shift all too much, so long as drivers keep it clean. And that's where the trouble of passing comes in these slower Toyota GR86 cars. The GT3s were pretty good when it came to passing. You could get good runs, build up speed, and the difference in momentum was tangible. But tonight, with these slower Toyotas, not necessarily. Doesn't mean that they are slow cars by any means, but it really is not the same at all, and that's going to give way to a different style of racing, something we don't often see at these road courses with the traditional IMSA style car. The GR86 is slower, and it's all about finesse. If you don't have it, you're as good as gone as the night goes on here. 7 laps in, Kevin Rold will run in P4. Close battles further back between guys such as Chris Wetz. Wetz now running in 10th place for Oasis Sim Racing, and he's coming up on Rafael Leon. Rafael tonight, number 25, will run for Race Mode, and one of their only representatives to make it through to the front of the field in any of their showcases so far in V2R competition. And undeniably, Rafael putting on a great show so far, only 2 spots out from paying positions. Daniel Simpson is in 8th. Dakota Fripp is in P7. Circuit Sim Racing right now having that final spot taken by their flagship driver for payment. Matt Busa, with the early struggles, of course, making his way up to the 6th position, and he's going to find himself paid no matter what in that case. $100 to 7th place, top 6 with their original payout structure still intact. We only added more money as time went on. Which means, of course, it goes from $1,600 down to $300 for your top 6. Matt Busa right now currently in position to gain $300 at the end of day. Russell Soto, of course, has that grand prize 8 laps through in his back pocket. That is, of course, if he can hang on from here to the very end. 13 laps to go are slated for the field from this point. Michael Polasek has gotten a little bit closer, but those gains have been so small that even though while he is absolutely making moves, getting closer, and he is just about as quick, if not more so, he can't necessarily capitalize. And as such, he'll just have to wait his time and hopefully get a good opportunity. That could be the advantage for Polasek. Superlap, with defensive and offensive driving, has an Apex 1 sandwich going on its top and bottom are the Superlap guys here, and that's the way it's gone. 7 drivers for pay. Currently, Matt Busa finding himself 6th. Dakota Fripp is in 7th. Andy Tripiano, P5, getting up to Kevin Roll. Still, it's all about Superlap in this race so far, and it would be a tremendous showing for them to finish the way they started. And although it's unlikely that it happens, as the laps wind down, nobody's getting closer to your race leader. And that's something that happens more so in road course racing than anything else, and it is true once again. Russell Soto is up in front, not because he's running a particularly riskier strategy, but instead, in large part, because of the fact that he is waiting, biding his time to see what happens next. And by doing so, he has to keep on running to see who can keep up with him. And if you can't keep up with a driver who's got speed, it will show. You cannot by any means fake speed at a road course. You can do so at an oval. You can be quick at Daytona just by holding the wheel straight, and you can be quick at most other ovals by keeping up with that same principle. When it comes down to road courses, especially with the highly technical circuit we have inside of the Charlotte Roval, there's no way to fabricate the speed you've got. You either have it or you don't, and it's really as simple as. Rod Davis right now still finding himself running in the 11th spot that time by, keeping up with Rafael Leon in a battle now with one of the Shift Arcade drivers. And it looks like it's getting closer now for the 11th place. Watch out for Lee Martinez, one of the last chance qualifier drivers, who's now got a shot for first pass, but not for position. Currently, Martinez finds himself 23rd even still, and that's because of a previous wreck. It looks like Martinez and his chances for any payment have unfortunately come and gone. Martinez is going to find himself still making moves in the upper mid-pack, not for position anyway, but the focus lies when it comes to the money. Up and ahead. Between these 3 drivers right now, they're in position to get paid upwards now of $3,000. $2,600 between your top 2, and of course then from there an additional $700, which makes it $3,300 between the 3 men who lie at the front of the field right now. And that money and the way it's sorted is separated by only 1 second on the racetrack. A minuscule difference for such a big payout for any of these guys involved. At the minimum, between the guys you're looking at here, in Darling, Polasek, and Soto, they would come away with $700 apiece at the very lowest. At the highest, that winning position, that of course is $1,600, which is more than double the 3rd place total and nearly more than double 2nd place. Winning, simply put, it pays. Halfway down, halfway to go with less than 15 minutes now on the clock and 10 laps remaining from Charlotte. So far, Russell Soto has led inch to inch so far in this main event, and it looks like as long as he holds his own, he's got defense and offense. On the backside, Paul Darling as an assistant, and of course the entire Super Lap team running the top 5, 80% full. Michael Polasek was able to squeeze through, and even though the big team has put on a big performance, there's one man lonely at the top. Michael hopes to be that top guy overall in P1 when it's all said and done. Michael Polasek right now remains in first, of course for the Apex 1 guys, but second overall. P2 is not at all a bad place to be as long as he finds himself close enough to the race lead for this first half, for this first three-quarter period. It means he's got a very real opportunity at making it to the end as a race winner. It's all about timing and working things out proper in that respect. And if you can't do that, you'll find yourself in an even worse position. That's why these top 3 have gotten away the best. They have the speed and they have the timing. Chris Reeves in the chat room, thank you for stopping by. Supporting today, of course, Peyton May. Peyton was involved in some earlier troubles, but has gotten away now to race in 13th for Speed Hub. Their first appearance now with their brand new look. Peyton May right now finding himself in the Baker's dozen. Mistake made right behind him, but it looks like that was a lapper. Mark Reynolds going to slide through the exit of that back straightaway chicane a little bit slower than everyone else. Right now, Mark is running in 24th and won't be able to make all too much of what we just saw. No gains, no losses when it comes to position. Mark Reynolds will keep it moving. Dakota Fripp right now going to be running 7th place, coming up on Matt Busa once again. Busa running in 6th means that he has $300 in his back pocket if he finishes it off. And of course, if he falls back to 7th, that's a difference of $200. He'll finish in 7th with $100, with 6th being $300. So gaining positions, especially in the lower spots, means a lot more. Even though, of course, it means a lot to win or to finish second rather than finishing 3rd or 4th or 5th, it's still high hundreds, if not thousands for P2 and P1. 2,600 for your top 2 drivers, the rest of the field getting the remaining 2,000. And of course, top 3, 3,300. The big shots running up in front benefit the most. Once again, an amazing effort by the Super Lap guys, and we'd like to thank all of our sim racing partners for bringing the action to you today. And in the top 5, we have Apex 1. They right now find themselves to the point at the top of the board for 2nd place, Westfield, New Jersey. They're representing on the east side. Then you'll have Super Lap with 4 drivers inside the top 5, and right now they're the dominant team overall for Berkley, Michigan, up to the northern side of the United States. Now, of course, we've got ourselves representation all throughout in terms of the United States and some Canadian representation for all upcoming V2R events. If you'd like to join the fun, check out our participating sim racing shops and you can find yourself as a qualifying driver. Special thanks to Super Lap in Berkley, Michigan, Manassas, Virginia, RPM Rush, San Ramon, California with Shift Arcade, Apex Racing, Cary, North Carolina, Winston Salem, North Carolina, Race Mode, Algonquin, Illinois, Sim Racing Chicago, Oasis Sim Racing, New Braunfels, Texas, Alberta, Canada, Drive Motorsports, Apex 1, Westfield, New Jersey, Chattanooga, Tennessee, Speed Hub, Circuit Sim Racing, Woodland Hills, California, Glen Rock, Pennsylvania, FOSR, USA, My Fastest Lap, of course, that's Fastest Lap. Their social media handles linked below. Evansville, Indiana, and Torque Atlanta, Peachtree Corners, Georgia. 7 laps to go this time by. We're down to the final 10 minutes of this race. Russell Soto leading them inch to inch. Andrew Davis now will be toe-to-toe. To the outside goes Gavin Nakagawa. Nakagawa will spin. Half spin. nevertheless will still lose time. Sponsor Paddock in the chat room now for Rafael Leon. Rafael fighting to stay inside the top 10, currently in a heated battle now with the number 37. That's a lapper. Further behind, contact even still. It looks like it's getting dicey, and that's between two leading guys. You might have seen the contact. Both drivers going to fall a little bit further back. Nakagawa involved as smoke now billows. It's Sean Fritz. Turn around and backwards down the front straight. Fritz, it looks like his race will come to a close. Check out why. Getting loose. Contact up the track. The fastest lap machine. It looks like that was Gerard Davis. Made contact. That sends the 15 up the track and the only of our super lap guys to face hardship today. Now, spun around backwards. That is a race ender. The super lap number 15 parking it while the rest of his team remains inside of the top 5 here with 6 laps to go. With the exception of the top 3, the entirety of this pack now is really settled in. We've had our incidents, we've had our moments, and it comes down to the dominant guys up in front. We still have to ask that question, of course, even as we look from within the cockpit of Michael Polasek. What can he do? Is there anything now that can be done? Or has time been spent all throughout? Time is running out, the field is coming to its final laps, and thousands of dollars remain on the line. If Michael Polasek here, as we're watching him on board, is given an opportunity to pass race leader Russell Soto, he'll gain more $600, and that'll be added to his total already. He's sitting at $1,000 on the day for a second place finish. Polasek just a few moments away from getting up there, but still Russell Soto on his A game. Every lap has been remarkably consistent. That time by for Russell Soto was a 130.42, still running laps even better than qualifying. Keep this in mind. Russell Soto, to qualify on the pole position, ran a 130.589. His most recent lap was more than a tenth of a second faster than his pole position lap. He just went 5 thousandths faster than both of them that time by. These are the fastest laps being set the entire session, the entire day, with 5 laps to go in your main feature. For all the cash, for all the glory, the best driving is coming out in the latest moments. And even though Russell Soto, of course, is pushing to wit's end now, you got to think about Michael Polasek, who's also setting red-hot laps. That time by, Polasek set an even faster time than Russell Soto in the 130.39 exact. The qualifying laps were impressive, the heat laps and the practice laps were as well, but the very best now is coming to rise in the final moments of this race. And I think now you're seeing that the best of the best are the only ones that have a real chance. While Superlap right now holds a super majority in the top 5, the race win is not theirs to claim, at least yet. We're going to be coming across this time by with 4 laps to go. Russell Soto knows it. Still behind him is a major threat for the victory. Keep watching. This is it. Grab your popcorn, stay seated. These final 4 laps will determine who comes away with a slice of a $4,600 prize pool. And when it comes down to that hard cash, it's one of the biggest we've ever had here on V2R. Russell Soto has led inch to inch. We've mentioned it multiple times now, but as the race winds down, that statistic becomes not only more impressive, but more challenging to hang on to. And because it's more challenging, it makes it more impressive. You'll see Polasek through the road course section is getting significantly closer. He just hasn't found a way to break through. Catching a driver is always a challenge, but passing is more than that. and the undeniable difficulty doesn't make it a reason to stop. 4 laps to go, knowing that money is on the line. Watch your top through, of course, the top 3. At the top of your screen, we'll put it up right now and put that special emphasis on the guys who are heading this pack. Soto, Polasek, and Darling. They are the can't-miss drivers, and they're using the sausage curbs. That is a significant risk. We're seeing other drivers who are afraid to do so, but it looks like if you want to stay up in front and win this one, you have to play it by all means from end to end. It's not easy, but it has to be done. Coming to lap 18 out of the estimated 20 we'll have on the day. Russell Soto still with the advantage. Michael Polasek runs in the middle. Then you'll have third and last, of course. That's Paul Darling. Super lap holds first and third. Still Apex 1 in second. It's not just about representing yourself as a driver, it's also about representing your team, representing your sim center, representing where you are. This is a tournament that is held nationally, as all our V2R events are, and to represent where you are on the stage of sim racing is critical. Tonight, Russell Soto has done well, but Apex 1, with their one driver at the front of the field, has kept them honest. It's the super team versus the one and only. Polasek is out there fighting for the victory and fighting for his team. Superlap has already put together a tremendous event with 4 of their 5 in the top 5 and all 5 making it through in the heats. Now, they gotta seal the deal, but with 2 laps to go estimated very soon, it won't be easy. Once again, Russell Soto sent to deep. He's going to have to compromise on the exit of that corner. Not going to be easy to make it back. Michael Polasek looks up high for the first time all night long. Your top 2 drivers will be side by side. To the inside now, Polasek gets loose, wiggles, and he'll get in the wall. Michael Polasek out of the second position for the first time in nearly 20 laps. And with how little time we have, that might be a death blow. But look up in front now. Paul Darling takes the race lead. Russell Soto led from nearly end to end, waiting for an opportunity. Paul Darling goes from third to first in one turn. New race leader with 2 laps remaining. In an unbelievable turn of events now, the battle for second place is between the 2 drivers who led all throughout the night. It looks like no longer does Russell Soto have the advantage. It took a while to get there, but now looking to the inside, Michael Polasek roughing up Russell Soto. They're door banging all across oval 1 and 2. This could cost them hundreds of dollars. Between the 2, they're entitled to $1,700 in the prize pool for second and third respectively. It looks like Soto is going to be passed again. Third place now is Russell. Michael Polasek knows the fight is still with them. We're coming to the white flag this time by, but Michael is further away than he's been all night long from the race lead. Paul Darling now holds the money spot. 1 lap to go. $1,600 on the line. That's the amount of money he'll come away with if he comes to victory for his team. Super lap. Final lap here in Charlotte. The Roval has been all about the action for the past half an hour and then some. Through the heats, through the last chance qualifier, through your main event. But Paul Darling, perhaps the quietest of your super lap drivers, has come away as the team leader. As a team, Superlap has 4 drivers in the top 5. The only one of which an exception is Polasek now in second. For Paul now, he just has half a lap to go, but it looks like if Michael's got anything left, he's bringing it to the table 110% as they go through oval 1 and 2. The final opportunity to pass will be down the back straightaway here as they come out of 2 and make their way into the midsection. But it looks like still Polisek is too far away. Either he gets a mistake now out of Paul Darling, or he lets that front straight give him one last shot. Darling now, through oval 3 and 4, has more than half a second of an advantage. If he holds his line and makes it away, he'll come through as the Roval Grand Prix winner. Polisek, out of sight. His teammates for Superlap, out of sight as well. Superlap will come away with 4 in the top 5 and a grand prize winner. Paul Darling wins $1,600 and goes from 3rd to 1st to win from the Charlotte Roval. Darling comes away on top. Michael Polisek for Apex 1 comes away with a further $1,000. And 700 lies with your 3rd place finisher. Paul Darling waits it out for more than 17 laps and makes the right move at the right time to win in Charlotte. All about waiting, and that patience was pivotal. Darling, Polisek, Soto, Rold, Busa, Fripp, Trupiano, your paid drivers tonight. What a race. Now to get a word from your race-winning man. First, we'll go through your race results. 25 drivers in the main feature here in the GR86 Roval Grand Prix, brought to you by Virtual to Reality TV. Winning a driver, of course, Paul Darling, getting the job done over Apex 1 and their leading man, Michael Polisek. 3rd place goes Russell Soto and Kevin Rold in 4th for a standout day for the entire Superlap crew. Then from there, you'll have Matt Busa, Dakota Fripp. Then you'll have Andy Trupiano, Chris Wentz, Daniel Simpson, Rafael Leon, and Peyton May in the top 10. Your remaining drivers include Gerard Davis, then finishing in 11th, Will Salisbury 12th, Andrew Davis 13th, Tully Fisher in 14th place, Russell Soto in 15th, Gavin Nakagawa in 16th, Andres Luna 17th, Brighton Fan in 18th, Nicholas Saro 19th, and Sean Fritz 20th. Final 5 drivers on the day: Matthew Noel, Lee Martinez, Mark Reynolds, Holden Rowe, and Samuel Scott to finish out your race results. Paul Darling tonight had to play the role of the patient one, sitting in 3rd for the majority of the fight, but when it counted the most, he's the driver who comes away with the money. We'll hear now from your race winner, Paul Darling, Grand Prix winner, and a $1,600 prize is heading his way. Top 3 interviews coming right up now. Thank you for tuning in to Virtual to Reality TV, brought to you by FTN Broadcasting. Now, your race winner is up first. Paul Darling getting the job done now for Superlap, and we're seeing whether or not he's available for comment here. It looks like currently we don't have a word now from your race winner. Gonna check right now to make sure he's available, and we'll tune him in as we speak. As we get ready now to hear from your top 3, stay with us. We're going to take a brief break here on Virtual to Reality TV, ensure your entire podium is ready for interviewing, and then we'll bring you your top 3 with comments right after this. You're watching the Toyota GR86 Grand Prix post-race coverage with Paul Darling, your first interview right after this.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Now to hear from your winning man, $1,700 on the day, richer, and of course, an amazing race win. Playing it low-key to start, Paul Darling comes away with a checkered flag, sliding through from the bottom of the podium to the top, and you've got yourself the biggest prize of all, $1,600 and a race win in the GR86 Grand Prix.
Thank you very much. That was a super exciting race in the last 5 minutes there.
Tonight, first and foremost, was all about the team for Superlap. You guys held an incredible race in regards to performance, getting it up to the front of the field, and keeping it there. So we'll start from the beginning. You were in heat number 1, and you finished second in that one. So how was it for you when it came to the race pace and getting it trimmed out for the future?
I knew it was going to be super close. Russell was super fast today, and when he put it on pole, and I knew it was just going to be my only chance was going to be to hang back and save my tires as much as I could and stay on the draft train. And it came down to whether or not Polasek was going to make a move, and I was, unfortunately for Russell and Polasek, but fortunate for me, there was contact, and I was able to take advantage of it.
And the contact very late in our main feature. That was the difference maker. Were you intending to stay back and wait for something to happen there as the night went on?
There really wasn't much you can do from P3, being the third car in the train. You really have to kind of depend on the second place car to try and make a move on the car that doesn't have draft. So that was just going to be a waiting game all race for me.
And patience proving key tonight. And I'd like to talk to you, of course, as the leader of a very dominant race for Superlap. How important was it for you guys as a team to come out here and perform as well as you did?
It's super exciting that all of 5-6 of us got into the feature. None of us needed the last chance qualifier. I think if you took away Polasek for a little bit, they were running 1 through 4 or 1 through 5 basically. So yeah, the Superlap guys were very impressive, and glad we can represent.
An unbelievable performance, of course, for a strong crew in Superlap, and it looks like their best man today gets the job done. Paul Darling winning here from the Charlotte Roval. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Any final comments, of course, for the audience? Go ahead.
Thanks to Dan from Superlap, and thanks to Joel for putting this on the prize pool. And this was an excellent event. Unfortunately delayed, but glad we could have a successful event today.
Paul Darling gets the job done. Months of waiting for this moment, and he comes away Grand Prix winner. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you very much, David.
With Paul on the way, I got to talk about this second place driver who put together a not only valiant effort, but a wonderful effort at that in terms of his pace, performance, and making it happen despite not being with the big team. Michael Polasek today comes away in second place, and what a race it was for this crew who fought and clawed to make it to the top 2 today. I'm sure it wasn't necessarily the finish you wanted, but still $1,000 richer at the end of the night.
Yeah, it was a good race. It was a lot of fun racing with Paul and Russell. It's just a shame it had to end that way. To be honest, I felt like if I just didn't fence myself going into the final lap at T1, I probably would have maybe had a shot at the win going into the last corner, but it's tough to pass around here, and I don't really know what happened with the incident between me and Russell. I don't know what either of us could have done different there. Just a shame that both of us ended up fencing ourselves. But it was a fun race. Congrats to Paul for the win. And yeah, I really enjoyed this one.
And undeniably, when it comes to the Apex One crew, it's the contrast between the super team tonight in Superlap and your performance practically as an individual. You won Heat 3. We saw you had the pace there. We knew you'd be up in front. Tonight, of course, you found yourself amongst a lot of different competition. Nobody really out there to help you. Was that anything that made it more difficult in particular?
Not really. I know that Russell and Paul are pretty clean guys, and they're great to race with. I've raced with them in a few other series, so I just treated it like any other race and just tried to do the best I could.
And then, of course, as we're replaying it now on the stream, that battle between you and, of course, former race leader Russell Soto. Looked like definitely maybe tempers flaring on the circuit, but luckily you both weren't costing each other the positions and the pay. But you were able to get that second place spot with some hard fighting, as we see here, through Oval 1 and 2 and making it work through the chicane.
Yeah, he was keeping me down there. I knew that he was not happy with what happened at the chicane. So I just had to take it and then just send it really hard into the chicane, and whatever happened at that point. Fortunately, we both made it out cleanly and were able to both carry on.
And working out just fine for the both of you in terms of keeping it in the money. $1,000 richer and a standout performance for Apex 1. If you have any final comments you'd like to leave with us after tonight's event, the floor is yours.
Definitely. First of all, thanks to Seamus and all the Apex 1 staff for running such a great sim center. Thank you to my dad as well for spotting me today. And thank you to Paul and Russell for such a great race. And thank you also to everybody running tracklevelup.com as well. Wouldn't be there without them.
Michael Polasek, second place on the day, making it work out well for the Apex 1 team. Thank you again for your time.
All right, thank you very much.
And for Super Lap, of course, they were able to crowd the top 5, and they take a third place finish as well. Russell Soto got shaken back after leading the opening 17 laps, but still comes away with $700 from the prize pool, and of course, a third place finish, Russell. Looking for a copy once again, third place finisher, Russell Soto, you with us?
Hey David, it's Kevin Rolled here. I was put into third here. I'm not sure. I think Russell actually got black flagged. I'm not sure what's going on with that.
And checking it right now, you're right. Unofficially speaking, we're looking at some changes in the running order. So, Kevin, for the time being, we got you with us here. What's going on in terms of your race, of course? Third place, strong run, and you found your way up to the podium.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a really tough race to stay mentally focused. Made a few mistakes along the way and lost the lead. It was playing defensive for the rest of the race. Definitely a really tricky track, especially with the chicanes. Or, if you missed them by a foot or so, it's going to really mess up your run. So it's a very tricky track. Overall, good race. Wish I could have kept up with the lead pack, but still finished with a great finish.
We're watching back, of course, your battle here, and for the most part, you were battling against teammates, including Andy Trupiano. The inner competition, when it came down to what was going on with Super Lap as a whole, great stuff from beginning to end. So how was it for you, mainly facing off against your teammates who you're racing alongside physically?
Andy was really quick behind me. He was putting a lot of pressure on me throughout the race. We had he got a couple of runs on me. He got by me at one point, and I was able to quickly get back around. Then, as you saw probably at the last lap, we had a unfortunate incident going into the last chicane. I think Matt Busa behind was looking to make it 3 wide into the last chicane, and I think we came together. I came together with Andy and unfortunately spun him out there at the end.
So, getting away with the advantage in that ordeal, third place now, and your strongest finish in these events, making it through for Super Lap. Before we head on to our next one, Kevin, of course, if you have any final comments you'd like to add, we'd love to hear it.
Sure. Thanks V2R for putting this on. Thank you guys for putting on the stream. Big thanks to Super Lap and Thay's Competition for sponsoring our cars, and thank my wife for always supporting me in all my sim racing career. And that's it. Thank you.
Kevin Roll, tentatively speaking, making it up to third place. Super Lap maintaining first and third on the night, with Kevin moving up to P3. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Now, when it comes to that finishing order, you might have noticed that Russell Soto has been knocked off the podium tentatively. It appears it comes down to a slowdown penalty from the final lap, and as it stands, it looks like we're working at it and seeing what's happening. So for the time being, unofficially, Kevin Rold will take third and move up into the $700 finishing position in third place. Situation is still unfolding. Then, under review, it'll be Kevin Rold third, Nat Busa fourth, Dakota Fripp in fifth, Andy Trupiano 6th, and Chris Wetz in 7th. This is tentative and unofficial. It appears that this will be a situation we'll take into the race control for the time being, and as it stands, Kevin Roll is unofficially 3rd, but we can say for certain that your 2nd place finisher on the day is Michael Polasek, and your grand prize winner is Paul Darling, coming away $1,600 richer. No matter how it goes down for the podium, Superlap goes 2 for 3 in the top 3 and finishes off a dominant night with their best driver on the day sneaking through and winning it all. The GR86 Roval Grand Prix comes to an end, and tonight, Superlap, the dominant team, gets what they wanted, a race victory. This has been an event nearly 4 months in the making, and we're glad to finally bring it to fruition, and what an exciting night of action it was. Thank you for tuning in tonight from virtual to reality TV at the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway. Tonight's broadcast was produced by FTN Broadcasting. I was your host, commentating and producing, David Kreutz. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like on the stream, subscribe to virtual to reality TV and FTN Broadcasting as well. And we can't wait to return as we've opened up our money season for 2025. Stay tuned for more events at our social media pages at Virtual to Reality TV as we look forward to bringing more high stakes, high cash, great racing to your screens. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Congratulations to our race winner getting the job done tonight. Of course, Paul Darling for Superlap with race victory here at the Roval. From David Kreutz and the Virtual to Reality TV team, thank you for watching. We hope you have a fantastic night.